I make tons of plans all the time.
But do they ever work
And
out?
no, no,
Okay.
no. Everything changes every day for me.
Welcome to Wandering Weirdly, a podcast for curious adventurers, joyful rebels, and multi-passionate wanderers of every kind.
We're Annie and Thomas, friends exploring the messy magic of life and following curiosity wherever it leads.
Every episode is a journey through creativity, self-discovery, and the wonderfully tangled map of being a human.
Wandering Weirdly is a part of the Bold Departure Network, podcast for those craving an authentic and unconventional life on their own terms.
Welcome back to Wandering Weirdly. How are you today, Thomas?
I'm doing great, Annie. It's good to see you.
You too. It's time for another episode.
Let's launch into it.
What should we talk about today?
Let's see. We are going to talk about living without a map.
I love this one. Okay. Let's
So
get into it.
a lot of it has to do about, just trusting your gut or trusting your inner guidance.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself often you just, going forward without having a big old map, a big old, list of what am I want to say here?
Without a plan? Yep.
Without a plan. There you go.
Yes. Yes, I do. This is how I live my life. I've learned because what happens, this is maybe, I feel like there's some kind of cosmic joke happening that I'm
Yeah.
not really in on, but I'm figuring out that I make a plan. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I make plans. And then it's like life is like, oh, that's adorable. Nope, that is not what we're going to do. None of that is going to happen.
Right.
Plot twist here. And so I've kind of stopped making any kind of clear, solid plans because I swear to you, every time it just goes off the rails anyway. So I'm like, well, that was a waste of time and energy. So yes, I I have learned this the hard way. What about you? Are you a plan maker? Like, do things in your life actually go according to plan?
I make tons of plans all the time.
But do they ever work
And
out?
no, no,
Okay.
no. Everything changes every day for me. Okay, so I do have to say this. When we go on our vacations or whatever, I make, the big old checklist, like make sure to have this, have that, whatever. And that's, it's what I'm doing there is I'm basically just gathering experience from our past vacations on what worked, what didn't work, and so that doesn't mean that our vacations aren't spontaneous or anything like that. It's like I'm not like saying this is what we do this day, this day, this day. I'm just saying, okay, we just got to make sure we have these things along with us, and we take care of this and feed the fish and all that good stuff, right? But when it comes to sort of the larger life of things, it's like, no, 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 no. There's no plan. I mean, I am every week I sit down and saying, what do I want to do this week? And I think about it, and I'll say, well, I'd love to be working on this, and I'd love to be working on that, and love to be working on that. But I know that my mind will like latch onto something new this week, and it's like, okay, everything's out the window. And in fact, Annie, I did this. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. It was a pretty long day at work, and at the end of the day, I wanted to work on something creative. And I looked at my notes and I said, well, let's work on this and this. And immediately my mind went to, oh, I want to build this app. And I've told you before, I use Claude Code now. So nowadays, building app means basically telling Claude, this is what I want. And so I actually built it. And I have to show this to you because I'm talking about it now. all it is a speedometer for fishing. And so it uses the GPS. Looks like I'm moving now, but I'm not. But it uses the GPS and tells me how fast I'm going in miles per hour. And when you're trolling for fish, you're basically going 2 or 3 miles an hour. And GPS is almost not accurate enough for that. I know I'm explaining way too much here, but the idea is that you can average it out and all that kind of stuff. And so I built an app in an hour or so, and I've been testing it, and it works. And it was like totally not on the plan for the day, or even for that hour, because like I said, it was at the end of the day. I said, I think I want to work on this, and I think I want to work on that. One of them was like working on this podcast, which I did, and the other was I ended up doing this totally different thing, which was building a little speedometer for myself.
But in the end, it sounds like you did stick with the plan because you did something creative.
I did. Yes,
So,
it counts. Absolutely.
yeah.
But it was so spontaneous. It was so like, what if? And then, my mind cannot let a what if go.
I feel that. Hmm.
Yeah.
So I think this is an important distinction, because while the specific plans for me rarely come to fruition, but I think that this is the difference, is that the larger intention was to do something creative, and check, did that.
Yeah.
And I find the same thing for myself. It's now when I make my plans, instead of making like a roadmap, I'm moving toward this feeling. I want more joyful experiences. I want more community. I want whatever that is. And I've let go. I try to let go of a picture in my head of what that looks like, but I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's, if it feels like that, I don't care what it looks like. So we just move toward like that feeling. Oh, does this feel like community? Does this feel like connection? Great. Doesn't matter the details of what it looks like. Like you're talking about, I wanted to do something creative. The actual thing that you did, not what you had planned, but you did something creative. So it was still, it's like instead of the map, you
like
have the compass.
Yeah. It's like intuitive planning.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. Yeah. It's more about let my intuition guide me, and the plan is just sort of like, I don't want to say guardrails, but avenues. It's more like avenues. Like, here's an avenue that might be worth going down.
Yeah, I had this. Okay, so I had once upon a time on this trip I took, I called this the intuition 2x4. Like, when you get smacked upside the head with something that's like, are you paying attention? Do you get it now?
Right.
So I'm gonna just tell you this quick story. So this was on my trip through the Balkans. I had just been in Croatia at Plitvice Lakes National Park. This is that gorgeous, oh my God, where you see all of the cascading waterfalls, and it really looks like that. It's amazing. But I didn't have a plan for this trip. I had no itinerary, no map, no nothing. I didn't know where I was going next. And I had met a gentleman at the campground who, this is amazing. He was German. He was biking from Tehran back to Berlin. Cannot even fathom. But he had just come from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that was a place I was considering. And he was just telling me how wonderful it was, all of this stuff. So it's my last morning at the campground. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to go. The whole inspiration for this trip was I had this idea, this picture in my head of like just kind of bumming my way down the coast, maybe hopping around some islands, whatever. I had gone to the coast in a like further up. Didn't super love it, but anyway, decided, okay, so I'm leaving. I have my two choices. Now after speaking to this gentleman, Bosnia is larger in my mind and was
Mm-hmm.
already on my radar. But
Yeah.
I was like, but I had this picture in my head of the coast. This was
Mm-hmm.
kind of the inspiration for this whole trip. So I kind of have to, right?
Mm.
So I was really torn.
Because it was in the plan.
It was in the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I stuck to the plan and I went to the coast. And I got to the coast and it was like scrubby and brown and wind. It was super windy. And I was just like, no. So I was just like, well, maybe if I just keep driving, it'll get better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it did not.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally found a campground and was just like, all right, screw it. This is where I'm going to stay tonight, whatever. And I'm like setting up my tent. I'm like in tears, just like
Yeah.
so frustrated. And it was that moment where I was like, oh my God, I did not listen to my intuition. What I really wanted to do was to go to Bosnia. Instead,
Yeah.
I stuck with the plan.
Yeah.
And then, fine. So I decided, okay, fine. Lesson learned. Tomorrow morning, I will get up and I will go the other direction.
Right.
And I wake up to this insane thunderstorm. Like, I swear there was lightning striking in the campground. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I know. And I'm like laying in my tiny little tent and I'm just like, okay, universe, I get it. I hear you.
Yeah.
Message received. So once the storm passed enough that I could like get up and get out, I mean, I packed
Right.
up my wet camping gear, whatever, like threw that shit in the car and was like, that's it. I'm going. And I swear, as soon as I crossed the border, and I mean, this was my first like overland border crossing. It was a
Yeah.
mess because I speak zero Bosnian, Croatian, any of that.
Yeah.
And everything was just such a relief. Like, oh, okay. And it was the most amazing experience. Long story short, absolutely fell in love with the country, the people, all of that. But I did not listen to my intuition. I stuck with the plan and had literally the worst night of the entire trip.
That's a great story. I mean, it really illustrates like how restrictive plans can be sometimes.
Yeah.
If you don't build in that the opportunity to try something different or follow your intuition as you're saying.
Yeah. And the whole rest of the trip, I had done that and it had worked out so beautifully. And for whatever reason, in that moment, I made the choice to stick with the plan. And yep, after that, that was the day. I mean, I still will never forget. That was the day where I was like, never again will I question my intuition. I will always, when I get a nudge to change plans, change direction, go over here, I'm listening. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never regretted it.
Nice.
Yep, that's the compass.
So how do you feel about actual mistakes? I wouldn't say that your decision to follow the plan was a mistake. However, sometimes in the course of doing what we want to do, or or following a plan, we actually have, honest to God mistakes that happen. How do you treat those?
I mean, mistakes, I feel like, yeah, like that particular situation, that wasn't a mistake. That was a learning experience that like, oh, there was information there that now I take and have integrated into my life.
Yeah.
I mean, mistakes, I think that there's always an option to make another choice too. That like, okay, I made this choice. That didn't work out. So now I can choose something else. Maybe I can't necessarily go back to the previous choices, but now I get to make a new choice about how I move forward from here. And I think a mistake is only really a mistake if you don't learn something from it or get something out of it.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think, mistakes are information, like you say. It's how we respond to them. Do we see them as failure? Which many of us tend to do that. Like, oh, I'm a failure because I made this whatever. Or do we take a look at it and say, oh, well, that's interesting. I'm not going to do that again. And I'll put that on my checklist for the next time we do something. Uh, I'm still here.
That's just it. I think often, at least in our society, we get locked into this idea of right, wrong, good, bad, like this binary. Either that
Yeah.
was the right choice or it was the wrong choice.
Hmm.
But at least in my experience, and I would be curious to hear what you think, I find that there are very, very few absolute truths as far as like right, wrong, good, bad, that like once we kind of step out of that binary thinking,
Hmm.
then you really can't screw it up as long as you're not like hurting other people.
Right.
Is there really like so much good, bad, right, wrong?
And I mean, life would be boring, honestly, if everything was binary.
And even if everything went
Uh,
according to my plans, it would kind of, I
yeah.
mean, to be fair, I do make awesome plans, but still, yeah, where's the fun if everything just is expected?
Well, and this comes back to exploration. Are you willing to explore when you go out and visit a new place? Is every hour of your vacation or your trip planned down to the hour, or are you going to a place and then like deciding right there, okay, let's see what's here. What can we find? What did we not know about? You know.
Yeah.
I know that for when we travel, we usually just design one thing a day. Like we're going to do this one thing today because we heard it was kind of cool, whatever. But the rest of it is like totally open. Let's go walk. Let's go figure out. Let's see what's around here. You know.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's my favorite is just like, okay, let's just walk in this direction. I mean, travel planning is one of the things that I do. And
hmm.
that's what I tell people all the time is like, walk from one place to the next place. Don't take a cab. Don't take the
Yeah.
subway. That like, make your plans. Sure. Of course, there are some iconic things you want to make sure you don't miss that.
Yeah.
But I would say 9 times out of 10, those are not going to be the stories that you tell. Those are not going to be the
Hmm.
most memorable moments. It's going to be the stuff that you find in between. Oh, this cool
Yeah.
little restaurant we found when we were walking from this place to that place, or this funky museum that somebody told me about when I was talking to them at the hotel or hostel or whatever. But I find that while I do enjoy like, yeah, like I'm not personally going to go to Rome and like skip the Colosseum. Yeah, I want to see that. It's iconic for a reason. But of the memories I have of Rome, those are not the ones that are the most interesting or memorable.
Right.
Yeah. And so how do you for me I find it's like there's almost like this calibration process of like how do you calibrate your compass? How do you know what it is that you're moving toward? If we're not making a map and we're just kind of okay, we're pointing ourselves in this direction and we're going to see what happens. How do you decide which direction to point yourself in?
You know, I think this relates a lot to what we were talking about in another episode about alignment. It's worth. I think it's worth knowing yourself a little bit, or a lot if you can. But the more that you know yourself, the more the faster you'll be able to find alignment with whatever it is that you're doing at the moment. Like in a broad sense, I'm not the biggest fan of driving vacations. We drive to a vista point, and then we drive to the next vista point, and drive to that's not. I've done that, and I know now that about myself, that's not the type of travel or vacation that I like. Let's get to the place and then let's explore that place. Let's be there. Let's figure out what's there. Let's talk to people. So that's my style. That's sort of what aligns with me very well. So I think that it's really worth, understanding yourself and then looking for that alignment as you go, whatever it is that you're doing. We're talking a lot about exploring and a lot of vacations and stuff, but even in just daily life, you can have all these plans, but it's worth sort of just checking in with yourself often and saying, oh, yeah, this is the direction that I want to go. We talk about a compass. Well, that internal compass is not something that it becomes automatic for everyone. I mean, I've really had to do a lot of sort of self-evaluation and self-discovery to know what that compass is. But now, I can say, oh, yeah, let's do this because that's what feels right to me. It's a little bit, can be a little bit challenging when you're in a group. So it helps to find the right group of people to be with. Sometimes you can find a group of people that have a very similar alignment.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, at least for me, it's become a process. I mean, yes, first and foremost of self-knowledge, right? Like, I know how to listen to my body. I know how to listen to my intuition. I know how to pick up on those cues that, like, yep, 2 thumbs up, or maybe not. But also it's become a process for me of intentionally aligning with certain values or certain, like right now, some of the things, like I have a practice every day of like, okay, this is what I'm aligning myself with. So one of the things, a couple of them right now are like joy. I know what joy feels like. And so if something enters my experience and it feels joyful, that's going to be a yes for me. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So, and then, like connection or creativity or community or whatever the thing is that's really important to you right now that you want more of in your life, that like for me, it's really just like intentionally, like I don't have to like focus on it all day, but it's just taking a couple seconds to just, oh, what is this thing that I want more of? Oh, okay. If that's connection, then what does it feel like? Like to just close my eyes for a minute and like, what does it feel like when I have the kind of connection that I want, the kind of people around me and in my life that I enjoy? And so then it's easier when I encounter that feeling out in the world
Yeah.
to recognize it and say yes to it, because I know what it is that I'm looking for. Even if I don't know what it looks like, I know what it feels like. So I have that kind of, that's what I mean about like kind of calibrating myself to that feeling of, oh, this person that I've encountered feels like that kind of connection. Great. Yep. Awesome. Let's be friends.
I think of it almost as like a daily vision map. I know people make vision maps like, an annual vision map or a semi-annual vision map. And vision maps just don't work at all for me, simply because the vision map looks totally different the next day or a week or a month after I created. But doing this sort of, like you're saying, this daily exercise of like, what is it that I am looking for right now in the present moment? I find that very helpful.
Yeah.
Because that helps sort of remind me of where I'm aligned with. And it also then allows for those changes that happen every day or every week. The vision map will look different at the end of the week than at the start of the week. But by doing this sort of a constant process, it's like, okay, I can see how it's changing and I can allow for new things to come in.
Yeah, well, and then we also don't find ourselves like way off in the weeds. If you're checking in regularly, I don't find myself like, oh, whoops, I ended up way off track.
Which is so easy to
So
do,
easy to do if you're
you
not
know.
paying attention. That,
Right.
yeah, that kind of alignment that I don't know if it's like, it's not even like it's not a feeling, but it's just like aligning with that intuition. But
Yeah.
it also, at least for me, I find that when I align with a specific value or feeling or whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
it also opens up so many more possibilities. Like
Yeah.
nine 99% of the time, it shows up in ways that I did not at all expect. That, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that was not even on my radar as far as what it would look like, but it
Mm-hmm.
feels like that alignment. So that's going to be a yes. And most of the time, even though it's not at all what I had in mind as far as like the picture or what I imagined, it's usually better than I imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes my
Yep.
brain because our brains use what they already know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even those of us who are creative and like to think outside the box and think, can think about extrapolate. There's still limits to what our brain really, it's hard for us to think of concepts we've never encountered before in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, when I'm not attached to it looking like a thing, to the picture of how that shows up in my experience, it opens up all sorts of wild and interesting things. It make for great stories too. Like, this came out of left field, but it was amazing.
We spoke a little bit about this as well, and that is sort of the idea of seasons. And we're right now, well, a few days away from spring, the beginning of spring. But I already feel a lot of that springtime energy. There's the excitement of new things and new ideas and so I'm wondering about you, how you're feeling about the way the map looks like right now.
I mean, this I there's that's a whole nother episode, but yeah, I feel like I have been getting a lot of spring this winter. That, like,
Uh huh.
there has been so much change and so many new things. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I need any more new things just right this minute. I mean, I'm leaving for
Right.
the UK in like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up faster than I want to think about. So that's going to be its whole own thing. But yeah, like, I have been thrown a number of curveballs over the last few months and in the most delightful and amazing ways. So yeah, I am feeling like, okay, I am here for this ride. Whatever I'm doing is working as far as bringing new and interesting things into my experience, but also maybe we can just let these ones settle in before we have more.
Yeah, that definitely is a topic for another episode.
Yes. Well, I think that's about all we have time for today. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, just I would encourage our listeners to really sort of understand your compass,
Yeah.
because that's where you're going to find your alignment with whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you're exploring.
Yeah. When you think about, like, I think that's a good point. So maybe this episode will be just a touch longer. Um, often when we're thinking about what we want, when we're picturing a certain image or a certain life or object or whatever that we want, what is it that you think that will give you? What will that feel like?
Hmm.
Right. So maybe it's not about the thing, but what feeling will that having that experience or whatever it is, that's what you're really looking for. It's really not about the thing itself.
Yeah, I agree. Well, great.
We only have one more episode for this season.
That's
That's
right.
insane.
Stay tuned.
So, one more, friends. Come back. next time, and we're going to wrap it up.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Wandering Weirdly.
You can find show notes and past episodes at wanderingweirdly.com.
We'd love for you to connect with us.
You can leave a comment on our YouTube videos or find us individually on our websites.
Follow along with my creative projects at thomasbutel.art.
And come over and have an adventure with me at explorerannie.com.
Tune in next time for another wild and wandering exploration.
And don't forget to check out bolddeparturenetwork.com for more podcasts about authentic and unconventional life.